Okay, so welcome to part three of my Frankenstein distortion unit. So you'll see I've added two new components to it. Number one, this super cheap Behringer pedal. I've been using it in my setup. It's not very good at quite a few things. The reason I bought it is because it has an octaver. Not even a good octaver, but the octaver doesn't even matter once you shove it through a reverb. You can suddenly have an octave up or an octave down and then drown it in reverb with the original signal and everything sounds wider. It doesn't matter about the quality. So what I'm going to show you here, what I'm doing is I'm driving a mono signal into it, stereo output goes to the tape, so that is driving our tape distortion. Then the output of the tape player goes to this. Now the reason I'm going to this is because the level of distortion or saturation we get is controlled strictly by the input. So how much signal we feed to this little red wire that goes onto the tape. And as that goes up and you start reaching the limit here, you want some sort of gain control. Now, sure, I could add like a compressor or a limiter, but live performance, I might bolt all these together as a single distortion unit. It's something that looks quite cool. So that just gives us level control. The other good thing about this is it's a 2-channel switcher. So if I just want to inject another stereo pair into here that I want to run through the distortion unit, I've got a separate set of inputs at the back for when I want. So I'll play a note and you'll see the needles flicking up and down like that. What I'll do is turn the input gain down so you're getting a reasonable signal there. So I'll turn the output gain up so you can hear what it's like. A bit more. So there you go. That's just a little pattern. It's quite heavy, but there's no distortion. There's no real tape distortion going on there. What I'll do, I'll bring in the pedal. So the pedal is currently all the way dry, so you won't hear any difference. What I've done is pitched up a full octave. So then as I bring the mix up, you hear that second octave along with it. Now the reason I'm going to play that is to show how that gives some interesting effects when distorting. So I'm going to play the sequence. You can see the needles going like that. I think I'll zoom in to the needles just a bit more so you can get maximum kind of vision of what's going on here. So I'm just going to start turning up the input gain and you'll see these there. Oh, and you can even hear that's actual tape saturation going on. And you can take it a bit further. That's real tape saturation going on. So I'm just going to take the output gain down a little, like I said I could. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to set the octaver back to the middle point. So as I bring this up, you'll just hear an identical copy. But let's give it some full gain, really tank that gain, and then start playing with the octaves. And you can have, you've got other interesting effects. So there's a delay unit on here. So we could tank the delay right down to the middle, to the lowest setting, and then bring it up a little bit. So start feeding it the shortest delay, and then really bring up the feedback. It's actually cutting itself out there, there's so much delay. There you go. So that's on full feedback. And if we just put a nice fat sustain note through it. With some feedback. So there you have it, really. A distortion unit that can take an input signal through a tape, and we're distorting using magnetic saturation. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some additional